All right, so let's begin today lying down on our backs. If you have two blocks and a bolster, please find those props. And as we often do, we will start in the supported back bend. So placing one block on the lowest level, the other block on the medium level behind your back. Have those blocks in a bit of a distance and have the bolster on top of the blocks. Of course, if you don't have these props, just kind of look around in your household, see what you can use instead of the bolster. And then snuggle your back towards the bolster, rest your low back, mid back, the back of the head on the bolster. So this asana, this back bend, is already creating more of a awakening, enlivening energy in the body. And if you would like to emphasize this energetic quality, you can cross your ankles and guide your knees wide apart. On the other hand, if you would like to balance the energizing effect of the back bend with more of a grounding energy, you can extend your legs forward and let your toes turn out to the sides. Whichever position of the legs you choose, extend your arms over the head, find a deep breath in. And as you breathe out, release your arms to the floor by your sides. If you haven't already, let your eyelids lower down. And as you close your eyes, begin to feel your breath. Noticing the waves of the breath in your body. Where in your body do you feel the breath in the most vivid way? It might be your belly, it might be your chest. It might be the nose or the throat area. So just notice the way the breath unfolds in your body. And maybe gently whisper to yourself in your mind, breathing in. I feel I'm breathing in. Breathing out. I feel I'm breathing out. So through your breath, arrive at your body and feel the presence of your physical body in your practicing space. Here's the floor supporting your back. Here's the bolster. Feel the air moving around your body. And as you arrive at your body, gently inquire, what is your current state of being? Notice the way your body feels this evening. Notice the state of the mind, if the mind is busy or quiet. Noticing your heart in its current state. Not making anything wrong, just letting it be an honest check-in. So I wanted to start the practice today with perhaps yet another recognition how what a weird situation we're in and how psychologically challenging this moment in time is. And I feel like this past year will be studied in psychology for many years ahead. And one of the things that I personally notice, especially recently, for some reason, is a feeling of grief. And it's a different kind of grief that I experience. You know, when something is missing, when, someone lost a job or another very special person from their lives, the grief is identifiable. This is why I am sad, or this is why I feel the way I feel. But I feel like during these times, the loss for many of us is very ambiguous. The grief isn't about just one thing. There are multiple reasons, many of which feel nebulous and very hard to define. And so this feeling might be quite uncomfortable, but it's also not linear. There are many different aspects to it. And so for some of us, it's a loss of very simple things like carelessly wandering around the market, a farmer's market on Saturday morning, or um, giving your good friend a hug. For me, one of the aspects of this feeling is a loss of feeling safe. And today, I wanted us to begin the practice with a meditation on finding that space of safety. Because even though, subconsciously, um, there might be a feeling of not being safe, um, at any given moment, we can attend to our immediate surroundings and gather that feeling of safety, stability, security. So, right now, as you lie down on your back with your eyes closed, if you can, in this moment, begin to bring awareness into the fact that in this moment, now and now and now, there is enough air to breathe. The heart is still beating. Your body is basically okay. If you can, in this moment, bring awareness into the fact that in this moment, now and now and now, there is enough air to breathe. The heart is still beating. Your body is basically okay. So, can you register the fact and feel it that you are basically all right now? See what it's like to feel basically all right. Allowing yourself to soften perhaps unnecessary bracing or defending or guarding. As you register now in this moment that you're basically all right. You may have not been basically all right in the past. You may not be basically all right in the future, but now, in the continuously unfolding now, it's true, and it usually is. You are basically all right. You can still be aware of what is happening around you and inside you. You can still deal with challenges with the uh, felt recognition of the truth that there is no immediate life-threatening danger. So see what it's like to settle into this growing sense of safety. See what it's like to settle into a growing sense of safety. And as we finish up here, you can also know that you can tune into that fact of being basically all right whenever you want to during the practice today, especially when things are challenging. And for now, begin to deepen your breath, noticing the way your deep inhalations unfold in your body. And as the inhalations deepen, the exhalations slow down. So maybe you allow the breath to be as complete as possible. Slow, deep inhalations, slow, complete exhalations. As the breath deepens, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, guide your chin side to side. Maybe open your eyes and just notice your surroundings. Notice where your gaze is naturally landing. Now, through your eyes, realize that you are in a safe space, protected from the elements, protected from the cold temperatures. The next time you inhale, extend your arms over the head, extend your legs forward if you haven't already. Find a deep breath in or a yawn. And as you exhale, interlace your fingers underneath your head, guide your elbows in and towards one another, and draw your chin towards your sternum, stretching, lengthening the back side of the neck. Guide your chin side to side, using the strength of your hands, your arms, to move the chin, to move the head. Maybe taking a moment to realize that your own hands are holding your head, your brain is in your hands. And maybe next time your chin is moving through the line of the sternum, you pause, begin to engage the front side of the neck. So now when you lower your hands down, the head remains lifted. Let's press the hands into the floor and peel your upper body off the ground, or off the bolster rather. Let's bend the knees, wiggle a little bit in your seat. Have your feet about hip distance apart, crisscross your forearms, and rest your hands on your knees, finding seated child's pose, letting the head be heavy. And maybe now move your chin side to side, side to side. So from a long held back bend, we were there for about 7 minutes. We'll approach the lower back, put this in the spine in general, with about 3 minutes in the forward fold. So come up with your torso for a moment. Let's bring the soles of the feet together. And I'll give you a couple of choices here. The closer your heels are to the buttocks, the more of an emphasis you can draw to the inner thighs. And the further the feet are away from the sitting bones, the more of a lower back exploration this will be. And of course, those two things are not mutually exclusive. You will still feel both areas wherever your feet are. So let's lengthen the spine for a moment. Inhale here. And as you exhale, very slowly, slowly lean forward, forward and down. And especially if it's quite a short journey for you in the forward fold, you might benefit from sitting on a blanket or a block or a bolster. Letting the head be heavy here. If the head is close enough to your feet, to the floor, you can retrieve one of the blocks from underneath the bolster and to lower your forehead down onto that prop. Begin to feel the back of the body. The back of the body is breathing. Noticing the low back, the space between the shoulder blades. Noticing the back of the neck. Noticing where on the back of the body could you use more spaciousness? Where in the back of the body can you detect some contraction or hardening or again, some defensiveness? And without changing a thing. Just feel your breath in that particular area. Feel the breath swirling around that spot. And as you exhale, maybe there is a sense of a release, softening, letting go. So even though anatomically we breathe through the nose, through the throat, feel that sense of expansion during the in-breath and the sense of softening during the out-breath at the area on the back of the body where you experience some tension, some gripping, some hardening. Notice your relationship with the sensations. Notice the way you react to the stimulation of this asana. Notice what feelings, what emotions this particular asana, these particular sensations awaken in your heart. And especially if you notice that there is some aggression towards these experiences or resistance. Just for a moment, allow yourself to suspend that reaction of jumping into the battle and give yourself an opportunity to pause with the experience, an opportunity to pause with the sensation, to pause with a feeling, to pause with a thought. And as you hold this inner experience in your mind's eye, notice that you're still protected from the elements, your body's still being held, you're still basically okay. Let's find 3 more breaths here, one slow breath at a time. Maybe deepening the inhalations 5 or 10%. Maybe slowing down the exhalations 5 or 10% more. When you inhale your 4th time, begin to slowly unfold. Start stacking your vertebrae one on top of the other. Please don't let me rush you out of this position. Take all the time you need to arrive at your tall seat. When you find your tall spine, continue lengthening the spine even though it's already long, but reach up to the crown of the head as if there was a string hooked to the top of the head, attaching you to the ceiling, suspending from the ceiling. So really long spine. And then either cross your ankles or extend your legs forward. Rest your hands on your knees or thighs, and let's find just a few rounds of cat and cow pulsation. Rounding your spine as you exhale, expanding your chest as you breathe in. Couple more rounds. Allowing this movement to soften some compression that might have occurred in the front of the body, during the forward fold in the back of the body, during the back bend. And we'll come back to the tall seat eventually. So let's move our left hip towards the bolster. If you don't have a bolster, you might have a couple of pillows running around. So find those pillows and place them by the left outer thigh, outer hip. And let's cover the left inner foot with the right inner thigh. Frame your bolster with the hands. We're moving, as you have probably guessed, into supported twist. So frame your bolster, frame your cushion with your hands. Place your right hand at the front of the bolster pull onto the bolster with the hand. Draw the lower ribs away from your hip bones, and then lower your upper body down. And as always here, let's find the position of the arms where we don't need to engage as many areas of the body. We can soften the shoulders and release the arms. We can let the head be heavy. So especially these days when there are so many experiences that affect our body, mind, and heart, and perhaps create some unconscious reactions. You might notice that there is more tension in your body than usual. And especially these days, we need to consciously welcome the body to receive the support. To receive the support of the bolster in this instance, to receive the support of the ground. So notice the connection of the body to the surface that is holding it. And through those points of connection, every time you breathe out, invite the body to relax. Invite the body to be received by the floor, by the bolster. Not forcing the relaxation. It's kind of an oxymoron. You cannot really try to relax. But just by noticing that connection of the body to the supportive, sturdy, stable surface, you might discover some softening, some letting go, some releasing. And sometimes we don't need to release. We don't need to let go. Sometimes the thing that we need the most is just arrive where we are. So here with your eyes closed, arrive at your senses, your sensory experiences. The eyes are closed so you can probably hear a little bit better. Notice the sounds that your practicing space is filled with. Notice the gentle whisper of the breathing. Now notice the touch of the air on your skin. There are some areas of the body that are exposed to the air, face, feet, hands. Notice the touch of the clothing on the other areas. Sharing 3 more breaths here in this supported twist. Letting each breath be a moment of arrival. Breathing in, this is what I feel. Breathing out, this is what's unfolding. And slowly, whenever you inhale your 4th time, begin to peel your upper body off the bolster. Bring your hands to the floor. Slowly, slowly come up to your tall seat. And once again, just like we did in the beginning of the practice, find your seated child's pose. Maybe move your chin side to side. Maybe say some yeses, say some nos with the chin. And we'll switch sides. So slowly come up with your torso. Draw the right hip towards the bolster, towards the pillows. Cover the right inner foot with the left inner thigh. And walk your hands towards the bolster, framing the bolster with the hands. And then turn your chest, turn your belly towards the bolster. Bring the left hand at the top of it. Pull onto the top of the bolster. Draw your lower ribs forward. And then find your way onto that support. If you don't have a bolster or pillows, you can still explore this asana lying down on the ground, resting your body on the floor and maybe bringing your hands one on top of the other, forehead on your hands. So as we stay here, I wanted to share a poem with you. It's been on my mind for the last couple of days, and this one is by Julia Feuerbacher. Let's forget the world for a while and fall back and back into the hush and holy of now. Are you listening? This breath invites you to write the first word of your new story. Your new story begins with this: you matter. You are needed, empty and naked, willing to say yes and yes and yes. Do you see the sunshines day after day, whether you have faith or not? The sparrows continue to sing their song even when you forget to sing yours. Stop asking, am I good enough? Ask only, am I showing up with love? Life is not a straight line, it's a downpour of gifts. Please hold out your hand. So as you stay in this asana, perhaps you hold out your hand, metaphorically speaking, for the gifts of this moment. One of them is that you are relatively okay. The body's supported. The body's breathing. Perhaps another gift is that there are some neutral or maybe pleasant sensations in the body. Maybe it feels wonderful to just lie down for a few breaths, for a few minutes. So let yourself, without any guilt, to savor that feeling of being alive and present. Noticing where in the body the breath unfolds the most vividly again. Noticing where in your body you could use more breath. Letting the belly move with the breath. Encouraging the belly to round and expand as you inhale. Noticing it deflating as you breathe out. And again, draw your attention to your senses. Maybe you notice that there's a clock ticking in the distance, or a cat purring next to you. Noticing the sounds around your body. Again, notice the touch of the air on your skin. Notice the touch of the clothing on some other areas of the body. You are here. And let's share 3 more breaths here in this supported twist. when you inhale your fourth time, begin to peel your body off the bolster. And this time, instead of finding seated child's pose, we're actually going to turn towards the bolster in tabletop position. So you can frame your bolster with the hands. You can have your knees about hip distance apart. Just find a few rounds of cat and cow pulsation. Cat and cow pulsation. If there's any other movement that you might find more enjoyable, don't hesitate to find it instead. And then we'll move into a back bend. Now, some of you will keep the bolster as it is. Some of you will set the bolster aside and will find a Sphinx pose lying down on the floor. Recently, I have been really enjoying using the bolster for Sphinx pose. So what you can do here is you can move your thighs, pelvis, belly, lower ribs onto the bolster. And then just very gently, slowly walk your feet back, move your toes back as if someone was pulling you back from your toe tips, just to stretch the tops of the thighs. And wherever you are, belly on the floor or belly on the bolster, let's find a couple of pulsations. So place your hands underneath your shoulders on the ground. And then slowly press your hands down and begin to lift the chest away from the floor, away from the bolster to the degree that your low back agrees with. And maybe lift the chin. Now, as you exhale, bend your elbows, lower your chest down, lower your chin down. Let's explore this pulsation 3 more times. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. And maybe one more time if you would like to. And then some of us will lower down onto the forearms. Again, if your belly is on the floor, you can bring your forearms to the floor. If your belly is on the bolster, you can bring your forearms to the bolster. And here you can bring your elbows on the bolster, interlace your fingers, and bring your chin to your knuckles, or maybe bring your chin to the heels of the hands as your hands cup your face. So just pause here for about a minute or so, not a very long hold. And if your intention was to approach the neck today, maybe you let your hands move down, and as you exhale, you draw the chin to the right as if you're trying to see your right heel. And then turn your chin to the left as if you're trying to see your left heel. And then maybe you draw the chin to the sternum and out to the other side, finding that half circle, kind of a half circle of a movement. And then draw the chin to the sternum and then the other side. Now perhaps you find a couple of full circles with the chin. Full circles with the chin one way. Couple of full circles with the chin the other way around. Great. Let's share 4 more breaths in stillness. Maybe closing your eyes and noticing that when you breathe, your belly moves, and as your belly moves, it inevitably, this movement inevitably echoes in your low back. In which way does the movement of the belly echo in your low spine? From time to time, perhaps you breathe out through the mouth. Great. Slowly, slowly lower your chest down to the floor or the bolster. Have your hands underneath the shoulders. Press your hands down and begin to peel your upper body off the bolster or the floor. And find child's pose, supported child's pose if the bolster is still in front of you, or regular child's pose if the bolster is not there any longer. And you can bring your hands one on top of the other, forehead on your hands, or extend your arms forward if the bolster is not beneath your body. Continue breathing into your belly, which is breathing into your low back. And we'll start approaching the hips. So still facing the way you're facing, come back onto your hands and knees. And let's bring the knees behind the bolster. Now, some of you might choose to set the bolster aside because you would like to feel more intensity in your upper thighs. So step your left knee in front of the bolster. I'm sorry, behind the bolster. If you are choosing to use the bolster, and bring your right foot forward. Let it be a very generous step. Bring your hands on top of the bolster and begin to lean into the bolster with your lower body. And you will notice how the bolster takes away some pressure from your left knee and softens that sharpness of a stretch of the left upper thigh. Now, if you would like to increase the volume of sensations, set the bolster aside and have more space for your pelvis to move down towards the ground. And wherever you are, have your hands on the floor, below your shoulders, maybe lower down onto your forearms. Again, if you're using the bolster, you can bring your forearms onto the bolster. This is one of the asanas where we could really benefit from slowing the breathing down. Usually, this assumption that we are not safe, that we need to protect ourselves, this assumption is a very quick reaction. And so by slowing the breath down, we slow the mind down a little bit so we can arrive at the actuality of things, if it is a word. So noticing the way things are, slowing the breath, slowing the mind down, and noticing the actual sensations in the body. Some of them might be quite vivid. Some emotions that come along might be quite expressive and vivid. As you experience that intensity or discomfort, if you're experiencing discomfort, while noticing that it's there, also notice that your practicing space is still relatively quiet and hopefully warm. The floor is not going anywhere, it's still supporting your body. There's still enough air to breathe, the heart is still beating. So maybe from the safety, relative safety of this moment, you can approach the sensation or a challenging feeling or a challenging thought with a little bit more kindness and willingness to feel it. So from the safety of this moment, slow down the breath, the mind slows down, approach the experience of now with a little more curiosity, with a little more kindness. Let's stay here for 5 more breaths, one at a time. Whenever your 5th breath is on its way, begin to come back onto your hands if you're not there already. Press your palms into the bolster or the floor. Begin to lift your pelvis and extend your right leg to the degree that your hamstrings agree with. Just a little time in the half splits in Ardha Hanumanasana. And then when you've had enough, step your right foot back and once again return to child's pose, either supported one using the bolster or not supported, with the belly moving towards your thighs or the floor. Notice the difference between two sides. And then find your way onto your hands and knees. And we will switch sides. So step your right knee behind the bolster if you choose to use the bolster, and then step your left foot forward. So again, have your hands on top of the bolster if you're enjoying this support. And then begin to draw the pelvis forward, forward and down. I like to, when I'm using the bolster in this position, I like to lift my knee, back knee for a moment, move it back a little bit, just to lengthen the top of the thigh a bit more. So then stay on your hands, maybe lower down onto your forearms. Let this be more of an open position of the legs. You can draw the left knee out to the side. You can turn your toes out to the side. So one of the inquiries that we often return to in this practice is, what needs my attention the most right now? So we're moving from that forced agenda of what I should be feeling, what I should be doing, what I should be experiencing, to having this open space for whatever that needs to emerge to emerge. So what needs, what wants my experience, my attention? What experience wants my attention right now? What needs my attention right now? You might also ask, what needs to be heard? What needs to be understood? Or another way to say it, if you discover a thought or a feeling or a sensation that is vivid and needs your presence, you might ask, how does this experience want to be treated? How does this sensation want to be treated? How does this feeling want to be treated? Again, what a different way of communicating with a vivid experience. Instead of jumping into the battle, into the combat with it, we give it space, we give it room to unfold. How does the experience change if you approach it in this way? Couple more breaths here. Keep slowing the breath down. Just this breath, just this moment. Just this moment, just this breath. Maybe exhale through the mouth from time to time. All right. Whenever your fifth breath is on its way, begin your journey onto your hands. If you're not there already, lift the chest, send your pelvis back. Extend your left leg, however much you need to feel your hamstrings. Maybe move the hips side to side to approach the three branches of the hamstrings, the inner, the outer, the central. And this time we'll step the foot back and we're going to return to a seated position facing away from the bolster. So again, let's find that tall spine and a couple more rounds of cat and cow pulsation. So we'll do one more hip-oriented asana. We'll do a pigeon pose, which in some ways is similar to a low dragon position, but of course there is a subtle difference. Come back to your tall seat. Set your bolster aside. We finally get to dismantle the structure behind it. Set your blocks aside. You might not want to keep the bolster too far away because you might enjoy using it in pigeon pose. So shift your weight over to your right side, guide your left leg out, around and back. And some of you find a position of the legs that is very similar to deer pose. Remember this one. But here, what you can do if your right knee needs a little more attention, more kindness, you can move your left knee out to the side and keep it bent. And then you can either stay in the upright position of the torso or lower down onto your forearms, maybe using the bolster underneath your forearms. Otherwise, keep your left leg extended. Walk your hands wide apart, wider than the shoulder distance, wider than the mat distance apart. And let's find a few shoulder dips. So lower your left shoulder down, turn your gaze to the right. Then lift the chest, extend the arms, and lower your right shoulder down, turn your gaze to the left. And travel across your mat just a few more times. We'll close the practice with neck exploration. So this movement has given us some idea, a better idea of how the neck is doing. And then lower down onto your forearms if you would like to. If not, stay on your hands. And let's explore pigeon for the next 2 minutes. So going deeper and deeper inside, but starting with an inquiry. What needs my attention the most right now? And then, how does this experience want to be treated? So sometimes I wake up in the morning and right away in the morning I feel this sense of unease. Nothing happened. I had a good night's sleep. But for some reason, there is this feeling of unease. And my initial reaction to this feeling is to brush it off, to just kind of block it so it doesn't mess with my day. And luckily, throughout the day, I remember from time to time to just touch this feeling gently. I try to locate where in my body does this feeling occur, and usually it occurs in my heart center. And then I like to place my hand on the heart center. There's something magical about that touch. It's a physical expression of the fact that I care. I care and I'm willing to listen, I'm willing to feel. And in that moment of physical and metaphorical connection, the feeling of unease softens a little bit. So as you stay in this position for 5, maybe 7 more breaths, touch the feeling that needs to be addressed with your kind attention. Where in your body do you experience it? Maybe it's an actual sensation. Explore it. Stay with it. Breathe with it. One breath, one moment at a time. Right? Whenever you feel inspired, begin your journey up onto your hands. Maybe come up onto your fingertips. Look up. Shift your weight over to the right side. Guide your left leg out, around, and forward. And pause in your upright seat for a few breaths. Rest your hands on your knees or thighs. Let the leg unthaw after 2 minutes in pigeon pose. 2 minutes plus, probably. And whenever you feel ready, whenever both sides feel somewhat balanced, shift your weight to the left side and guide your right leg out, around, and back. Again, maybe a variation of deer pose where the right knee is bent, right knee is facing out to the side. Maybe you extend your right leg back. And of course, even though I didn't mention it before, you can lie down on your back and explore figure 4 position by crossing the left ankle over your right thigh. Then if your belly is facing the ground, walk your hands wide apart. Find a couple more of those shoulder dips. And then lower down onto your forearms. Maybe use a bolster underneath your elbows or stay in the upright position. So as we hold this asana, I will be quiet. I will stop talking for 2 minutes. But perhaps you remember the invitations to approach the position one breath at a time. From time to time to inquire what needs your attention the most. How does the experience want to be treated? If you discover a feeling or emotion that needs your attention, notice where in your body do you feel that feeling or emotion. Explore the physical sensation of that feeling. Maybe exhaling through the mouth from time to time. And again, from time to time, especially if this experience is challenging for you, while recognizing that challenge, also recognize that right now, and now, and now, there is enough air to breathe. The heart is still beating. And you're basically all right. And you have a capacity to pause with the challenge, to breathe with the challenge. 5 more breaths here. 5, maybe 7. Whenever your 5th or 7th breath is fading away again, don't let me rush you out of this position. Begin your journey onto your hands, maybe your fingertips. Lift the chin, look up. And then shift your weight over to your left side. Guide your right leg out, around, and forward. And let's find that upright seat again. Just for a few breaths, finding stillness so you can really feel the aftertaste of pigeon pose on the left side. And then if you'd like to find a few more rounds of cat and cow pulsation, feel free to do so. Then, as promised, we're going to close the practice with a neck exploration. So find your tall seat again and place your right hand over your left collarbone. Right hand, left collarbone. And as always in this position, see if you can have skin to skin connection. So go underneath your shirt. And then press your hand into the collarbone. Extend your left arm out and down. And then pull the collarbone gently down. Draw the chin away from your sternum and over to the right side. And let's stay here for maybe 5 breaths. Feel free to open your mouth, move your lower jaw forward and up. Maybe move your jaw side to side, maybe make a funny face, maybe stick your tongue out. This is a great opportunity to really release the musculature of the face. Great. Now let's slowly move the right ear towards the right shoulder and bring your hands to your knees or thighs. Guide your chin to the sternum. Find a couple of half circles with the chin. And we will switch sides. So lift your head. Bring your left hand over your right collarbone. Again, try to go underneath your shirt so it's skin to skin connection. You have a better traction this way. And then extend your right arm out to the side. Press your hand into the collarbone and gently pull it down. Guide your chin away from the sternum and over to the left. Maybe open your mouth, move your lower jaw a little bit, up and down, side to side, maybe forward and up. Again, maybe you move the musculature of the face. Sometimes if you change direction of your gaze, this can also address the neck in a very interesting way. So even if your eyes are closed, you can look up and over to the left. Couple more breaths here, maybe deepening the breath. All right. Now guide your left ear towards your left shoulder. Release your left hand and draw the chin to the sternum. Find a couple more of these half circles with the chin. And then find your tall spine. Look around, see where your bolster is, and let's place the bolster underneath the knees as we make our way onto the back. And of course, if you feel a bit chilly, if you have a blanket nearby, you can cover your body with a blanket. Put an extra layer of clothing on. And if you would like to in Shavasana, you can connect the soles of the feet in front of the bolster, draw the knees wide apart, or extend your legs forward. Hands can stay on your belly. You can open your arms wide apart or rest your arms near your torso. Palms face the ceiling. Close your eyes. If you choose to keep your eyes open, soften your gaze. So there's nothing in particular we are trying to see. Notice the way the breath is moving the body. We are not controlling, not manipulating the breath in any way. We are just noticing the wave of the breath in the belly, solar plexus, chest. And once again, as your eyes close, as you feel your breath, as you feel the support, the unconditional support underneath your body, notice, register the fact, and feel that you're basically all right now. At least right now, as you're breathing in or out, you're safe. You are well. With every breath out, the body softens a little more. With every exhalation, the mind releases tension. So perhaps every time you breathe out, it feels like a fist unfolds into an open palm. Or maybe it feels like the ice melts into water and water evaporates to air. So with every breath out, we soften. we release, we let go. And for the next couple of minutes, allow yourself to rest in that feeling of safety, in that feeling of being held, being really taken care of. And where is home? Is it where we begin or where we end up? Is it where we long to be or where life puts us to make good use of our gifts? Arrive back home at your breath. Let your breath collect your attention once again. And through the breath, arrive at your body, your belly, your chest. Feel the back of the body connected to the floor. If you notice with more and more certainty that you are awake, begin to deepen your inhalations, slow your exhalations down. Start wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes. Maybe move your chin side to side, side to side. And perhaps eventually there is time for a full body stretch. So lengthen your arms over the head, find a nice deep yawn. And then lower your arms down, bend your knees, and slowly, slowly roll over onto your side, whichever side is calling you now. Pause on your side for a few moments. And then with the help of your arms, begin your journey to the upright seat. And when you find your tall spine, whenever this might be, connect your hands at the heart. Let's come back to our senses by moving the hands one against another and really feeling that touch. Noticing how over time the hands begin to warm up. And when your hands feel warm, gently cup your hands over your face. Inhale. Exhale into your hands. Open your eyes into the warmth of your hands. Close them again. Reconnect your hands at the heart and take another moment here to notice your current state of being. Find a deep breath in. Let it go. Thank you all for practicing together, for breathing together. May you be well. Namaste.